The Power Hour is live. I'm going to click a button here, and you're going to be able to see everybody in the studio. KFAN.com/watch is where you can find it. It's all thanks to Quantum Fiber, your world unleashed.
Just hang on. We're going to continue this. Welcome back, Power Trip Morning Show. Man, I got all kinds of stories for you today, guys. Like, I was just reading a story about a new insulated bowl that everybody's crazy about.
Like insulated bowl?
Yeah, you can get a 2-pack for them on Amazon. They're called the IMEA, I-M-E-E-A. And the big selling point is that if you put ice cream in the bowl, it never melts. I want my ice cream to melt a little bit.
What?
I like a little melty ice cream.
Yeah.
Am I the only one who likes a little melty ice cream?
Yeah.
My father-in-law likes to actually
I don't
put it
care.
in the microwave. Well, he'll put ice cream in the microwave.
What?
Yeah, oh yeah, just for a little bit.
Okay, no, that's psychopathic.
psycho.
Yeah,
Like-
that's a psycho move.
Yeah, well, it's
In the microwave,
ice
really?
cream soup.
Does he know about the sun?
Has your father-in-law heard of milk?
That's a great line, Hawk.
Is he greater than the sun?
No,
Hawk's-
for real.
Yeah, but you're the one, Hawk, who likes soggy cereal.
I really
which is
do.
gross.
I know, and I don't do it as much anymore because it gives me the
Upset belly.
yeah.
Mud butt.
I have a jazz quartet in my pants if I drink any kind of milk products these days. You know what I'm saying, Ben?
I have never had
Ben's
milk
leaving.
in my cereal.
What?
Nope.
Wait a minute.
Dry.
Wait a minute. Hold on. At some point
Since
in
I
your
was a
life you
kid.
have.
Nope.
What?
Nope.
At some point in your life, you
No,
have.
I don't like soggy cereal.
Oh, my God.
people
You're
are
a
texting.
weird
You've
human
never
being.
had milk in your cereal.
Oh,
You
what?
are a weird human being.
No,
it's not. It's
Has Cory?
Mus, why can't you just eat like a normal human being?
Scory
Just grow up
has-
and be a man.
I'm sorry
Has
you've lived your
Cory-
life that way.
Jeez.
Scory, you've had milk in your cereal.
Oh, don't even
right?
pretend like you haven't even opened you open up a cereal box and you're just mitt-full going.
Yeah, no,
that's
no,
different.
That's
And you're
different.
not even putting it in a bowl. You're not even using a spoon.
is it even cereal then?
It is cereal.
Or is it just a snack?
It's Chex Mix.
Yeah, well said. Hawk's
Well,
right.
I'm not in
right?
a bowl. I'm not
Yeah,
a
Hawk's right.
monster.
So you pour it in a bowl and grab a spoon and just eat it dry.
Yes, I
Oh,
do.
yuck.
Oh, yeah.
That's that.
You
that
grab
is,
a spoon?
And crunch berries were
You
the
need
best.
You need some serious therapy.
You need help, man.
Yes, I'm saying.
You know how many times I've poured a bowl of cereal and then gone to the fridge and there hasn't been any milk and I just pour it back in the thing? I'm not eating that.
No one
Gross.
believes that story.
No, ick. I'm not eating
Yeah,
dry
sometimes you put
cereal.
gravy
It's the
on
best.
We're mad at Mus, not me. Brilliant.
You know what's
And out of this room of fussy eaters, you guys were
I'm
ripping
not.
me about
Fussy's
this.
a great word.
Yeah.
It is a good word.
I like it. Fussy mussy.
You fussy bastards.
Anyway, $12 insulated bowl. If you like your ice cream to always be frozen, there you go. You can have it. It's on Amazon.
Are they microwavable safe?
Microwavable.
I don't know if they have a microwavable safe, and I don't know why you'd want to put a safe in a microwave.
Right. I don't think that's the right way to open it.
I don't think so either.
Real valuable.
Oh, speaking of that, guys, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
No, don't. Go.
Don't go.
Hey, Cory.
Yes, sir.
I know you desperately want to talk about Timberwolves. Can I tell you something that's kind
desperately.
of, sort of sports related? Actually, it's more than just sort of. There's a book, and I know it's not new. It's by a sports writer by the name of Wright Thompson. First name Wright, last name Thompson. Wright with a W. And the book is called The Cost of These Dreams. Sports Stories and Other Serious Business, narrated by the author. I don't think I could recommend a book more than this for anybody who is even a slight sports fan. It's this guy, Wright Thompson, big-time writer. He works for ESPN, or at least worked for ESPN. The very first article, he reads his own articles, is about Michael Jordan. You guys are familiar? Remember that guy?
Yeah, he plays a
Basketball
little bit
player?
like Ant.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. You want to talk about the first time I've ever read an in-depth story about MJ that was kind of honest, wasn't written from a he's my hero perspective. I'm not sure if Michael Jordan was in this room, any of us would like him. He's still the greatest of all time, and I'm not necessarily sure that it's his fault, but he is, everybody talks about his gambling.
Yeah.
You've talked about that. It's not just that he gambles with everybody. He hates to lose so much that he would be intolerable to be around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that actually.
Have you ever, really?
That's what Phil Jackson said. The difference between Kobe and Michael Jordan is that Kobe's competitiveness ended when he got off the court, and Michael Jordan would race you to the car.
See, And here's the problem with that. That's a great point, Max. The problem with that is his basketball career ended, but that did not. So his post-basketball life, post-playing career life has been torture.
Yeah.
He must be one of the most miserable rich people on the planet.
I think he, even in his own Hall of Fame speech, said something like it was bittersweet because that means he could technically never be in the NBA again. And that's why he got into NASCAR, and because he needed something to try to fill that competitive void. That's
funny. Ben and I were just talking about this off the air because I'm watching last year's World Series of Poker main event for the third time. And Richard Seymour, who won 3 Super Bowls, made the money last year in the main event and has taken poker very seriously the last decade or so, basically since he's been out. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but he freaking loves poker. And I think it's exactly what Jordan chases is the competitive rush that you lose once you're done.
You got to feed the beast.
You got to find something else.
Well,
I don't know what it is, but you got to find something.
There's something also to the idea, and I think Jordan, actually, this was a direct quote from Jordan, a competition is the only thing that quiets the voices. So he has to find something where he has to beat everybody, or his mind won't let him believe he's good enough unless he's beating somebody at something. Do you know what I mean?
I told you, and I know this is a very small sample size, but when I was at the same table with Michael Jordan playing poker, he, outside of it being the most surreal moment of my life, I just honestly couldn't believe it being 4 feet away from him going I can't believe that's a real person. It was so weird. It was so surreal. It didn't feel real. He truly didn't want to fold any hand. And in poker, the right play a lot is folding, but but folding
is quitting.
It looked like it was hurting him to fold. Man. Even if I know I'm losing, he's like, I don't want to quit in this hand. It's that's not how the game works. But, man, it pained him to fold it. And this is a charity tournament.
Yeah.
Who cares? This isn't the World Series of Poker. He didn't want to fold a hand. He played almost every hand. He didn't play well. He busted, and then they automatically put him at the final table. That was part of the sale, right? If you make it to the final table, you get to play with Michael Jordan.
That's pretty cool.
But that's also what we heard about the other tournament at Canterbury back in the day. The story that I heard was that he was in town with, I don't remember if it was Charles Oakley and whoever. It was a handful of other NBA guys. And they all had busted out of the tournament, and they were like, let's go downtown, let's go party. And Michael's like, no, I'm winning this. And I think it was something like a motorcycle was on the line to win it, and he was like, I'm winning this tournament. They're like, guy, who cares?
Buy a Harley
Trent
Davidson
Tucker's
dealership.
thrilled you're already here. You made Trent happy. Let's go party.
Right.
And he wanted to stay and win.
Yeah, I've heard similar things about the way he plays golf. Is they bet on every single thing.
That's why he's the goat. I love him.
Every stroke.
Drives.
Yeah.
Pitching,
Every swing.
All of it.
Must go ahead.
You talk about feeding the beast and then that competitive nature. And I know we were talking about Jordan here, but one of my favorite stories is about Tiger Woods. Now that you mentioned golf here, Saucy, Tiger Woods, it was Faraday that told the story that Tiger Woods is so competitive that at one time when they were playing golf together, they got into a fart competition. And he said, I swear, he essed his pants
to win.
Just to win.
Wow. That is commitment.
Well, do you want to be a champion or not, Moss?
His dad would be so good at that.
Well, since only one of us here was a professional athlete, Ben, did you go through that transition where you were like, what am I going to do for that adrenaline rush the rest of my life?
I'm going to tell you, he already did. You have 19 different jobs.
Right? Yeah.
I'm serious. That is your pattern, dude. You have to keep working.
You got to do your study. You got to do all, and you're on, and you're in front of people. So
I've never really looked at it like that. I've always known that I'm a worker bee. That's what I am. That's what I like to do. I like to work. So I knew that about myself. I never jumped into the conversation when some of the other guys in the locker room were like, I can't wait to retire and just do nothing. I'm like, that's not me. I can't even I'm not even gonna fantasize about that. Like I know that I will have a mental breakdown if that is me, right? But I do wonder, and it'd be interesting to talk to like a sports psychologist or even just some high high profile person that understands how the brain works. I feel like what Jordan has, what Tiger Woods has, what sounds like Tom Brady has, it's the thing that makes them the top 1%. We all understand that.
Yeah.
But I think it's beyond competitiveness. Competitiveness is like too general of a term. I think it's a psychosis in a healthy way when it's directed in the right way. But when it's not, I think it's a real mental disorder. I think it's a problem.
Yeah,
I don't look at it as reverence of like, oh my gosh,
it's toxic.
It's toxic. It's torture. It's like I think that like it's not something that we should all strive to be in like in a general sense. Like that is that is crazy town.
So then you admire the Kobe mentality of when you're on the court, it's game on to 1,000%, but then you have the ability to turn it off.
I admire athletes and professionals that know how to turn it on and off.
So let me ask you this, Ben, because almost everything you've done though post football, right? Whether it's broadcasting or radio or Twin Cities Live, you're doing a lot of things, but all of them are passively competitive,
and
right?
You're average at all of them. Is that what he's saying?
They're all passively competitive,
totally
right? Because it's you're competing for ratings and maybe trying to upgrade to different broadcast teams, but in a sense, but it's not a true winner and loser, right? It's not like a race or a tournament or so you don't have that like urge to win anything the rest of
I've always competed against myself.
Okay.
So because it's never necessarily been about, of course you use other people and other barometers to judge where you are. I mean, that's always passively there. Like, okay, I know it's in the peripheral, but where I've found my best groove is when I challenge myself and call myself the P word. Like, are you going to do this? Like, I have bets against myself. I bet you can't do that. I'm like, okay, I bet you.
Well, in 2009, we were hoping that you were going to get it right.
That's bring it up
because I would have gotten one too.
That is, that was the one lapse I had where I just said like, oh, screw it, I'm good.
Two things. That's my bit. And leave him alone.
Hey, Ben, question for you, and I promise I'll be, but again, the book was called The Cost of These Dreams. The writer is Wright Thompson. This is how much I liked this yesterday. I was hiking, and I almost took a picture and sent it to Dan Barrero to make sure that he had read this book, and then I realized he would delete the tweet as soon as he got it, or the email as soon as he got it.
Just send it to the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line at 64686. Then he'll read it and respond.
I'm sure he already has, and I'm sure he probably knows Wright Thompson, the author, but it's so good. But Ben, is there someone, are you close to anyone who is mega famous and mega wealthy? Like, would you say, would that describe Brett Favre? Would that describe like Troy Aikman? Are you close to somebody like that? I have a reason for asking.
Close? No, I'm not close. No, okay. I'm not close with them. No.
Because I believe there's a certain level of fame / money, and I think the two come together at the same time. With Michael Jordan, he seems to be intolerable, and tortured as well. And I wonder if you cease to have the ability to be a regular person once you attain some level of fame and wealth.
I think so. I mean, I think it's the same in every industry. I don't think Steve Jobs was an easy person to be around. It's like historically known that he was an a-hole, because he was so driven and so smart and had such a high expectation for himself and others around him that you couldn't even be around. Like, people avoided being around him.
Right. Like Michael demands a level of what's the word? When people cater to you, and when they like loyalty, he demands a level of loyalty that is almost maniacal. Like, if he sees anybody who works for him wearing anything other than Nike, he will demand they give it to him and cut it up. Because he demands that they wear all Nike, or he did anyway. You know what I mean?
Well, if they're representing him, then yes.
Yeah, but not even just that. Like, there are people like just in his sphere. Like, if somebody
just in his circle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They act. For instance, like, he has his own plane. Obviously, a couple of them, I'm sure. If anybody is late, when he's ready to leave, the plane leaves, whether anybody's there or everybody's there or not. It's like a maniacal egotism.
It's just it's extreme narcissism.
But everybody puts up with it, so you don't have to change.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Have all, and I don't know if you guys talked about this, I'm sorry, but have any of you seen the entire Tom Brady roast?
Yes.
No,
fantastic.
Not the entire
So there's
thing,
a bit, Hawk, to your point, where the Bert Kreischer and then Tom Segura basically call out Brady for exactly this. Now, they compare him to some very terrible people, but they said exactly what you said, Ben. We're like, he has such a psychosis because he's the same way. Like if the rep isn't great, we're doing it again and again and again. And like he just counts on everybody to be perfect. And they basically call him out for what we've been talking about. How they basically call him like he's like a serial killer. Like he has that mentality. It's very interesting to what you're talking about.
Well, I think in a lot of ways, and Hawk, I think that you know the phrase better than me, but like very successful people have no friends.
Yeah.
Like they are very lonely. Like success is very lonely.
Right.
Because I think it's hard to find. You want to find like-minded people, and it's hard to find like-minded people when you are the 1% of the 1%. I think the other part of that is that you're intolerable to be around, and nobody wants to truly be in your inner circle.
But isn't that also because everybody wants something from you? Not necessarily saying money or anything else. They just want a piece of you. And so that you got to
be protective.
You have to callous yourself
100%.
So that way, and you probably hate doing it because there definitely was a level where all of a sudden, okay, you hit this kind of celebrity, and all of a sudden you had to get rid of some people in your life because of like, this is the only way I can go on.
There are hanger-oners and all that stuff. Yes, I think that there is like a shedding that happens throughout, like in the course of time.
And you can't go anywhere and make new friends because everywhere you go, everyone recognizes you, and so that's why you come off as a complete, a-hole.
I mean, the thing is like, okay, let's take Tom Brady because we just talked about him. Think of Tom Brady's world. Like he's already like this super obsessive compulsive guy to begin with, right? Mm-hmm. And he's ultimately selfish and narcissistic in a professional way. Like that's what makes you great. Like most high-end people are very selfish because it has to be about them and their success to get where they want to go. So that's already, and I'm sure his ex-wife is the same way. Like she didn't become who she is by always thinking about other people. Like she had to put herself first with everything. Right. Her diet, her fitness, her this, her that. Like it was all about her. At some point in time, it's like you only want to associate with people like that. So like for Tom Brady, he can only probably be friends with Peyton Manning, I don't know, high-end actors, other athletes. But if they're all off doing their selfish things, you don't have time to be really friends. You might trade a text every once in a while.
That's because you're busy being great.
Yeah, you're busy being great.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't come, even if you're the best in the world, you have to work.
Right.
And if you're so dedicated to it and you want to continue to be the best, you got to be busy being great.
Exactly. Like the YouTube thing that Brady did where he kind of basically did a documentary about himself. I guess got bits and pieces of that, but like his whole day is centered around himself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The whole day.
And that's his normal, by the way.
And that's his normal.
Yeah, right.
Like he's like, why would I change? This is why I've gotten 7 Super Bowl rings. Like because this is what it takes to be great. And for a lot of people when they see that, they're like, I don't have the capacity to be that type of person.
The sad part is that is the only way in some people's minds that they can find happiness, and then they get trapped in it, and they are miserable.
Well, if somebody mentioned the letters OCD, listen, I've suffered from that my whole life, and in a lot of ways, it's my superpower. It's the only reason I've had any kind of success.
Right?
Yeah. I think that's sort of the same for a lot of people. You are so one-track minded that nothing else can exist in your world.
How about the opposite, by the way, just since shout out in case he's listening. How about Mark Parrish? Parrish is one of the most competitive guys I've ever met, but he's the most gracious competitive person, right? Like he wants to play you in everything and he wants to win in everything, but he's never a sore loser, never an a-hole about it, never has an ego about it. But he's like, let's play this, let's play that, let's do this,
let's do that. He knows he's better than you.
Well, there's that, right? He knows he's probably going to win outside of initials. But he's admitted 1,000 times over. He just loves to compete. Doesn't matter what it is. Let's do it. Bags, darts, pool. Let's go.
But like you said,
he's good at that.
He does it good-naturedly, and that's the problem. Because I mean, you don't have to be on Michael Jordan's level to have that personality trait.
Cutthroat, though. Parrish is cutthroat.
Oh, he wants to win. He plays to win.
He's not going to ruin the whole.
Never.
Like, I know people.
Never.
I got somebody actually just talked about that Michael Jordan story yesterday because we were talking about a buddy who almost got kicked out of a men's league Sunday game for ratting, yelling at the officials. And he's one of those guys that just can't turn it off ever and has ruined video games and has ruined all sorts of stuff because he's got that trait. So it's funny. Like you hear Michael Jordan and you hear these big guys, these famous guys, but I mean, it happens on every level.
Correct. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right, Zacho. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a great conversation,
I know.
Hugs.
It's a really interesting dynamic to like dive into, like stuff that I'm super fascinated in. But like you brought up a really good point, Hawk. And this is why I think, in a broad sense, you think that your greatest weakness is a weakness and actually could be your greatest strength.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan's talked about this himself, about himself. He's the most successful podcaster in the world, and he's got all these, he's super successful. He was always told his ADD and his all that stuff was a detriment, and like he should take pills for that, and he should do this. And he's like, no, this is actually my greatest superpower. I just have yet to figure out a path to make it work.
I've yet to find a way to be happy with it. Like the OCD may be the superpower that gets you to your success, but can you be happy even when you're successful? That's the question.
I don't.
That's the question.
By the way, it's fascinating that you guys are using the word superpower because as my daughter just got diagnosed about a year ago with ADHD, and that's the word that the therapists use for ADHD now with kids. Is basically let's make it a superpower, not an excuse for the rest of your life to not succeed. Let's flip it. So it's funny that you guys are actually using that word because that's what the therapists are saying. So.
But look at a lot of therapy.
But look at I know we're going to break here, but look at the most successful people in the history of art, music, sports, whatever. They weren't normal.
Right.
They're not normal people.
Yeah.
No, I think you have to sacrifice part of your brain, the normal part of your brain, to access that level of prowess in whatever you do.
But from a clinical standpoint, somebody would have told Michelangelo that you have ADHD.
True.
You have like you can't focus on one. You can't do this. You can't do like your brain doesn't work like other people. Well, who cares?
Well, not to keep making this about us, but look at the fan staff.
Yeah.
I mean,
what?
Freak! Yeah, none of us are normal.
Yeah.
Freak! Not even close. We're freaking weirdos. He's got a circus penis.
Well, and again, that is not a compliment.
You just got to figure out how to harness
We go commercial free the rest of the way. One more segment with Ben Lieber and Michael J. Musselman after this on The Fan.
The Fan.
Power Trip Morning Show. Final segment with, final segment period, and final segment with Ben Lieber. And by the way, I know Zach goes back there. We are, you can see us. We are visually unappealing, but we're there at KFAN.com/watch. Thanks to our friends at Quantum Fiber. There we all are. Hi, guys.
Hey.
There's Mossman and there's Ben.
Hey, Daddy.
I always forget that we have this thing at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Hey, Ben.
And I got to sit next to Ben?
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Son of a...
Yeah. Ben.
Yeah.
Was A.J. Smith your general manager for the Chargers?
Yes.
He passed away at 75.
So he's the player that drafted you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that was that's
John
also
Butler?
John Butler.
Yeah, okay.
That's also kind of a sad story. So John Butler comes over from the Buffalo Bills, I think the year before. Actually, no, I take it back, that year. And he passed away right after the draft.
No kidding.
Yep. So he passes away right after he drafts me in that whole draft class. And then AJ Smith comes in and was our GM. And not the most likable guy. His approach to being a GM was we are just cogs in the wheel, and there's no personal interaction, there's no emotional connection. And some GMs feel like that's the best way to go because they can make moves without having the emotional component to it. He was a very just like stern dude. I guess behind the scenes much different, but to us as players, like not the warm fuzzy guy that you'd want to be around.
I'm not your friend. I'm
not your friend. I'm your boss. Yeah. And I just want you to know that I can cut you basically any day.
Abbott says it all the time.
Yes.
So
Only
so unfortunately, unfortunately he passed away. So I think he had a 7-year battle with prostate cancer.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
That's
That's tough. Oof. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Good news. Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right. Well, I'm sorry.
That was
Now it's time for
Headlines brought to you by our friends at Wolf River Electric. If you want to get turned on, go solar with Wolf River Electric.
That's right.
You guys can go solar.
Thank you.
The Wolves lost to the Denver Nuggets, 115-107. That series is tied at 2. The home team has lost all 4 games.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Denver shot 57% from the floor. 44.8% from 3. They went on a 26-4 run in the first half. That felt like it was a 90-4 run.
Yeah. I wish I had the soundbite of Jim Pete complaining about in like 20 seconds they scored 8 points or something like that.
Yep, that was the end of the first half.
Right.
That was
unbelievable.
With about 5 seconds to go, they got a steal and a fast break dunk, and then Nickeil Alexander-Walker tried to chuck it to half court to try to get the Wolves a shot from half court with a second and a half to go, but instead Jamal Murray picks it off. And without taking a dribble, I actually thought he traveled in real time, but on the replay, it looks like he just took the 2 steps and then chucked up a half court and didn't hit the rim.
Sauce.
And
That's
then
what the NBA wants, isn't it?
Well, the fix is in, right, Sauce? The fix is in.
And then he just stared down Kevin Harlan.
He sure did.
Can I actually ask you that question? Because I thought he traveled too. Don't you? He didn't dribble, right?
No.
I thought you get 2 steps continuation after you're coming off a dribble. You can't just grab the ball and take 2 steps, can you?
I'm pretty sure you can just take 2 steps.
I think it's up to 4 now.
I think it's
in the NBA. I think it is it's maybe more than that. I think you can just run, but
real question. Like if somebody passes you the ball on the perimeter at the 3-point line, you can take 2 steps before dribbling.
Yeah, what? Absolutely.
It's like playing Nerf basketball at your house. You don't have to dribble.
No.
Just run.
But in real time, I thought it was more than 2, but the replay looked like it was just 2 steps. I thought he just started running for a second. I'm like, you can't, let's challenge this. And then they show the replay. Go, God dang it, that's a perfect shot. And he freaking knew it. The second he let it go, he started posing. He knew it was online. So it's just like, if this is the right distance, this is lined up perfectly. And he just freaking swished it.
Yeah.
Man.
I can't lie. That shot with him and the camera shot of him and Kevin Harlan together was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Too bad he sucks.
Of course, that's another guy in Jamal Murray who Tibbs had an opportunity to draft, and he
don't now listen.
Right.
Listen.
Always take a player from what college, Axo? Kentucky.
Hey, I told you last week when you're like, he didn't get suspended. His punishment's playing the Wolves on Friday. I'm like, I don't want Jamal Murray to play on Friday.
Right. But it also was good for the league to give him 4 days off so he could rest his leg.
There is that.
That looks a little suspicious.
He looks much healthier on Friday.
Correct.
Yes,
it also, it's entertainment. Always remember that. Yeah. It's the National Basketball Entertainment League.
Okay.
Man, they changed the name of it?
Yeah, they did. I just got an email.
So, do you guys remember when Burger King added chicken fries?
Burger King
which were basically chicken nuggets in the shape of fries.
Yeah, those are good.
Now they're adding mozzarella fries, which is mozzarella sticks shaped like fries.
Right now, what they already are?
My guess is they're going to be even thinner.
Right.
That's my guess. Yeah, less like your finger, more like a French fry.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically,
thin mozzarella sticks, just called mozzarella fingers or something, or mozzarella fries. Who knows?
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. So there you go.
Oh, Burger King whales, right, Hogs Daddy?
There's some whaling going on.
Well, mozzarella sticks whales.
You know what they have? Who was I? Is it Zacho, or were you and I talking about this a while back? But they have Hershey's Sundae Pie as one of their desserts.
It's so good.
And they sell it to you by the slice. It's like, give me 9 of those.
Yeah.
They're $100 a piece. Give me 12 of them. I don't care.
It's so good, Hog.
Yeah, it's so good. You ever had one of those there, Ben?
I've never had one.
I don't
even know what it is.
We can tell.
Yeah, you can tell I've had a bunch of them.
Speaking of
Hershey
desserts, I had the peanut butter cookie dough party blizzard yesterday.
What the hell is that?
We have no interest in what's going on with you.
Is that mixing up multiple blizzards?
It's the peanut, like the crunch you put on a cone.
Yeah,
right.
It's peanut butter cookie dough.
Right.
And it's sprinkles.
Augusto, sweetheart, save some room for later.
Yeah, sweetheart. Please.
Somebody at Dairy Queen got the message that they now put more candy in those things, because it used to be you got like 3 pieces of candy.
You always ask for more.
No, because
I
it's
need
like
extra.
$17.
Well, there's also a chance that somebody
A+.
realized it was you and they said, we better feed him or he's going to get mad.
No, I'm just saying, man.
Did you have a gummy prior to?
No, I don't do gummies. Gummies are terrible. Don't do edible
One
marijuana.
bad experience.
Listen to me for a second. Hey, sweetheart.
Labels it bad.
Gummies aren't terrible. You just don't. You don't like them.
No, I don't like THC gummies.
Again.
They're probably not terrible for everybody. I just don't like them.
And on that note, I'll see you guys Thursday.
See you Thursday and Friday. Can't wait.
Friday.
Bye. I like you.
I like you too.
Bye, Ben.
See you Thursday, Ben.
I can't wait to travel the country with you and the world again this year. He left.
It is true.
I mean,
No, he gave you double birds.
This is terrible. An
Very nice of
18-year-old guy in New Hampshire is facing several charges after he tipped
Jesus.
over a portable toilet.
I did
no.
that.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
It gets worse.
Don't say it. There
Someone
wasn't
was
anybody
in there?
Don't say it.
There was a woman in there.
Oh,
And her 4-year-old child.
Okay, burn that guy. Burn him.
Oh, man.
That's
Burn
terrible.
The
him.
woman and her daughter were not seriously hurt, but they were traumatized and
Covered in feces.
dirty.
Yeah. right.
Icky.
God, there's
Just
nothing.
Blue water. Ick.
I'm going to tell you.
I hope it's blue.
Yeah, good
That
point,
is
Zacho.
like what hell must be like.
Ugh.
Right?
Golly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than when you're at a festival and you're like, oh man, I'm going to have to use this. And you're just cool hand luking it. You're in there and just sweating. Terrible.
Played a gig.
Porta potties are awful.
Played a gig on July 5th in Washington, D.C., the day after July 4th, as you can imagine. And all the porta potties were yet to be cleaned. Oh. I've seen terrible things with these eyes. terrible things.
It's just a
And the
poop
one thing
lasagna.
that I will never forget is opening one door. And my apologies to anybody eating breakfast, but I have to say it, Corey. You remember what I'm going to say. I opened the door. It was filled to the rim with brim,
Goo.
and there was a plate of
I remember.
shrimp tails.
Oh,
So somebody had sat in the porta potty eating shrimp. And for some reason, that's the worst thing I've ever seen.
2 birds, 1 stone, whatever.
I'll never forget it.
Eating shrimp
While sitting on a porta
in a
john.
biffy.
Yeah.
Do you think that person was drunk or high? Or just
hopefully both.
ready to party? Because
Yeah.
do you just lose track of time and space if you're eating shrimp in a porta potty?
I mean,
How do you even get shrimp to a festival?
I mean,
I don't know.
You bring it yourself? How'd you get it through security? They're not selling shrimp at a festival, are they?
I just
so
don't know.
gross.
I just don't know.
Wow.
Just smuggle it?
I just don't know.
I mean, Biffies are disgusting.
Well, they're
Strong
great.
take.
I mean, you
They're
have
needed, but yes,
yeah, no,
they are
I mean,
disgusting.
let me tell you, the Biffy at the right time saves your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
I got to pee.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I love this headline. This one makes me laugh. A man in Florida stole a boat and took it for a joyride last Tuesday. Here's the fun part.
Yeah.
He was wearing only his underwear and an ankle monitor, and witnesses say it was very clear that he had, quote, very little boating knowledge.
I'm sailing.
Underwear,
film.
ankle monitor, and very little boating knowledge. But he stole a boat.
I love the idea of a
Buddy.
joyride, though.
Yeah.
You know, they're normally associated with police chases.
And Roxette.
Yeah, right. Well, that's
Oh,
true,
great
too. Yeah.
point.
But a joyride just sounds like fun. Like a cakewalk after a joyride would be
Yeah.
the best day ever.
Good point.
Yeah.
A man in Canada attacked a police officer
Oh, no.
with a block of cheese.
God, I hope it was blue cheese. though.
The cop did not require medical attention, and it's unclear what type of cheese was used in the assault.
Had to be a cheese wheel.
I would
Yeah.
assume so. It's
Oh,
got to be.
yeah. wheel
you
of
would
cheese.
assume,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
It couldn't be Swiss, all those holes.
Your mic's
A guy in Texas named Al, we're going to go with Blaschke,
Yeah, I know Al Blaschke.
reclaimed the record for oldest skydiver on record. How old was Texas man Al Blaschke?
Now, I remember a guy doing it at 100. So
Yeah.
I bet
George
he's
H.
107.
George H. Bush was what, 94?
Something like that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
103.
102.
I'll say 104.
101.
You guys all danced right around it. He originally broke the record at 103, but then a Swedish woman beat it, so he recently got it back at age 106.
Yeah, man. 106.
Oldest person to ever skydive on record,
Like
106.
he's looking
What a
for ways
badass.
to die.
Right.
God
If I'm
just won't
106,
take him.
I'm not. Don't even pack the chute. Just
No.
let me fly out.
He just he grabbed the guy's hand before he pulled the chute, like, please.
All your hand was up.
Oh, I was going to say the lady that broke that record, Woodhawk.
Yeah, she's Swedish.
Yeah, man,
She
yeah.
was probably on the Swedish bikini team.
Adventurous.
Yeah,
brilliant.
and she
By
got
the way, do you
balls.
guys remember growing up hearing about the Swedish bikini team, right? That was like a thing.
I had
Yeah.
the poster.
Were they the only country that had this team? And where were these competitions? And why do those competitions not still exist?
That's a great point.
All those points were good.
Swedish bikini team. Were they the only ones?
I've never heard of like the
Right.
Well, they're not even Swedish.
what?
What?
The Swedish bikini team was a group of American female models who appeared in an advertising campaign for Old Milwaukee beer.
So they were all Americans.
Old Milwaukee.
Yep, they were Americans. They were playing with American stereotypes of Scandinavian women being blonde and having big breasts.
So it's just a bunch of girls from Wisconsin.
Yeah, and in the ad, they are all wearing the exact same wig. God, this song wails.
Hawkfest.
Yeah, man. We'll play it.
The Social Security Administration has released the annual list of the most popular baby names in the United States. And we're getting a lot of repeats. Names in the last handful of years are just not changing at a very strong pace. It's kind of the same year after year after year.
Are we still going with the
After
older
year.
names? I mean, has Gertrude ever made it in there?
Well, like, for example, only one of the 10 boys' names is new. That's how much these ones are locked in. Here's your top 10 boys' names from 10 to 1. William is 10. Then Lucas, Henry, Theodore, Mateo, Elijah, James, Oliver, Noah, and this one just keeps dominating. The number one boy's name, again, Liam.
Liam.
Yep.
Huh. I don't think
Liam,
I've ever met a
check this out.
name.
Liam has topped the boys' list now for 7 straight years.
Wow.
7.
You're right. Now, I
don't
can't
know a
think,
Liam.
I
Not
don't
a
think I
one.
know a Liam.
No one's ever said, "Oh, and this is my son, Liam."
Number
Well,
one.
I maybe some kids, but I mean, as an adult, do I know any adult Liams?
What about
I know a lot of
Oasis guy?
I know a lot of people that have named their kid Elijah, but not any Liam.
Bill Guerin's son
Is Liam?
Yeah, he works up in the press box from time to time.
There you go. You nailed one. Maybe not literally. Top 10 girls' names from 10 to 1. Luna is 10.
Luna.
Then
Brilliant.
Then Evelyn, Ava, Isabella, Mia, Sophia, Amelia, Charlotte, Emma, and yet again, Olivia. They just Olivia and Liam every year.
Isn't it weird? And well, okay, I'm wondering if I'm the same as you guys. When you were mentioning those names down the list, I was basing those names on anybody I've known with those names. One of those, I will say who.
Yep.
One of those names on that list, I thought to myself, ew, because of one person who ruined the name for me.
Yeah.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah. Oh, remember, like, naming your own kids. You're like, nope, can't do that one because I knew a kid and he was a booger eater. And no, can't do it.
We had one of those too. His name was Meat Sauce Paul Lambert.
Oh, come on.
Different one. Different one. Different Meat
No
Sauce Paul
relation.
How many kids that grew up in Minnetonka won't name their kid Paul because they had to tell their wives, I knew a booger eater named Paul. I can't name my son Paul.
Well, Paul's a great name. There's a lot of great Pauls. Paul is a Bible name, which you know, of course.
100%. Very aware.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the name Paul. Paul's a good, easy name.
I believe in the Bible, the verse is something like, thou shalt not pick your nose.
Yeah.
And Paul was like, screw this.
Thou shall be heavy.
Can I, yeah.
Yes, thou shall be.
$50 the Paul kid eats it. You know?
yeah.
Caddyshack.
Yeah.
I'm shocked they haven't remade that movie.
$20 as the Lambert kid eats his own
So good.
Oh, so good. And can I make an observation that only a handful of people in the world are probably going to recognize, and they're all my age? Do you know what the name of the two sisters in Heart are? Do you know what their first names are?
No.
Anne and Nancy.
Oh, yeah.
Wilson's, right?
Every time I hear them or see them anywhere, I always think the same thing. This one should have been Anne, and this one should have been Nancy. They have the wrong names.
Oh, it doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit.
Yeah, okay.
Nancy should have been the dark-haired one, and Anne should have been the blonde-haired one, but they're switched. And I don't know why that
you
sits
think
like that in my head, but that's how it seems.
Well, let's go back a month or two. You remember when we had the Sklar brothers in here?
Sure.
They told that story about
Terrifying.
possibly being switched, and then the mother not knowing which one truly was Randy and which one was Jason, and they spent most of their lives not 100% sure they were attached to the right name.
Isn't that strange?
And
wow.
It shouldn't matter, right? One's Jason, one's Randy. Who cares which one is which? But if you're always like, well, am I supposed to be Randy? You're still you, but the name, I don't know, it does change the way people think about you, act towards you. You might think, well, I kind of want to be the other. It's a weird thing that a name does. To your point, why does Nancy look like Ann and Ann look like Nancy? There's no reason.
In my brain, that's how it works.
And again, everybody with kids here understands this. When you are trying to come up with the name of your kid, you're like, oh, it could be this. The second that kid's born, the only one that makes sense to you is the one that you named it, right? If you go back and you're like, oh man, I'm glad I didn't name it this because it doesn't look anything like that. Well, yeah, that's because you chose the other one.
Yeah.
If you had named it Paul after that booger eater, your kid would be a Paul.
Yeah.
But you named it Liam because Liam never freaking eats boogers.
You guys,
Liam eats boogers.
Remember I told you when I went to the mental health place in Canada that we all had to use the childhood nicknames?
Yeah.
Well, my childhood nickname was just Chris, right? I haven't been called Chris by any of you guys in most of my life.
Almost never.
I don't think I've ever called you that.
Right. When people were calling me Chris, it had that effect on me. It made me feel like I was a little kid again.
Weird.
Yeah, because everybody calls me Hawk. Everybody calls me Hawk.
Well,
Chris is a different person.
Same for me, like Mikey. No one ever calls me that.
Hey, Mikey,
but then every once in a while,
every
once in a while, I'll be like my brother or somebody else will say it, and I'm just like, oh, kind of just like set you back just a moment,
right? Yeah.
And of course, nobody in my family calls me Mus. So
nobody in your family calls you.
That's good. This is they don't blame him. Yeah.
There's a couple.
Of them don't masturbate.
There's a couple.
Well, and let's go even darker. You've always said Forever Hawk since you had a twin that died during the
before birth.
Before birth. That like what if you were supposed to be that person's name and that person was supposed to be Chris? Like your name would have been different. How different would your life? Well, of course, the answer is it would have been infinitely different.
Right. Yeah.
You wouldn't be sitting here if he had been born. Right.
I always
0%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. But maybe you wouldn't have been Chris. You don't know.
I don't know.
I guess whoever gets out first gets named Chris.
That's probably right.
Right. Race to the finish line.
Hey. Yeah.
Paul, you understand what the finish line is?
Yeah. Trying to get back in.
I understand the finish.
Did your parents ever tell you what your name would have been if you were born a girl?
Yes, because my sister was born a year after me. I would have been Courtney.
Okay.
Which is her name. I would have been Courtney if I was a girl.
Crystal.
Well, and Cory and Courtney are both in the 80s and 90s. Were both ambiguous names. You could have been either. I went to high school with a Courtney.
You were going to be Crystal?
Yep.
Oh my God!
Hi, Crystal.
Man. Oh, Crystal Halverson.
Wow,
that would have been great.
Tommy just changed your name in his phone to Crystal.
That would have been great.
Middle name
Crystal.
Crystal
Healthy.
Remember that thing I told you about how a girl changed the name? You would have been real loose, Crystal.
Oh yeah.
Sauce, you would have been as a girl?
No. They knew I was going to be a boy
before they came up with a name.
I was going to be Paul.
She was still going to be Paul, no matter what.
Yeah. No. David was going to be Jill.
Yeah, he was.
Dave looks like a
still
Jill.
Could be if you'd like.
Yeah. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, man. That's what I say.
Crystal Halverson.
Crystal Halverson, as Hawk said, is loose.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Oh yeah. Oh, she skis.
Yeah.
She also would have been absolutely ass at math.
Her and Crystal Hockey would have started a fire between their legs.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Crystal Hockey, Crystal Halverson, and Crystal Pepsi. Just three epic failures.
Come on.
Jeez.
Oh, they just are tramps.
Yeah, they're going to need some reconstruction surgery downstairs.
They don't have fingerprints.
Hey, the Wolves lost. 9 to noon. We'll talk about it next. We tried to avoid it because it sucked. Moss, thanks for your time, man.
Absolutely. Love you guys.
We're back tomorrow, 5:30 to 9. See you tomorrow.
Everybody have a wonderful day.